What's poppin', yo? It looks like Cenat might be the boogeyman running this streaming industry, because anybody that talks about him, they better talk about him right. Because Lacey, he was doing a stream with Cinna, who's doing her Cineathon, subathon thing. And he got asked for the worst stream experience he had, or the worst guest that he had on stream. And he would reveal a certain individual.
Who do you think out of your entire subathon was the worst guest you had on?
The segment itself was good, and I with the person, but I'm gonna say because it caused problems for me later down the line. I'm gonna say TJR because I was in an awkward position where like he was talking Kai during the stream, but I was staying at his hotel in Vegas on his private jet, so I was just kind of like standing there awkwardly during that situation.
That was the clip that Kai showed you at the auditions, right?
And the stream was fun. Like I had so much fun during the stream, but like that situation caused problems for me later down the line. And then we had the whole situation during that stream where like we went up like 30K and there was like a miscommunication where he said at the table like, oh, if we hit this, we win 30K. And then he hit it and then he took the full 30K. Then I was confused because I was like, oh wait, do I get half of this?
So do you talk to him now or no?
Yeah, no, I'm cool with TJR.
So this is like TJR. He's a famous young dude that is just really social media famous. I know he was initially like in the trading space, kind of like trading education stuff, but he's grown to be a lot bigger than that. The dude's known for having a ton of money, and he bought like a Koenigsegg and then ended up selling it, but he was recognizable for that car. Kind of like took the method that Tate did with the very easily distinguishable Bugatti. So the collab that happened, we had to do a little bit of a review on this. So first off, this was the clip that was in question.
Not a bad idea.
Cenat's gonna steal that before you do it, so you better do it, bro. I'm serious, bro. Better not let Kai do it, because once he does it, it's over.
So just looking at this, you can see how different Lacey was. I mean, this was maybe a year ago or so. He was a lot heavier, and I don't think there's anything too crazy about this clip. Like, I can understand if Cenat is your mans. Like, if you're a Ty Lil, you're like, yo, don't talk about my mans like that. But if you're a Lacey, the guy didn't say anything too crazy, and he didn't agree with him. He didn't co-sign him. He didn't laugh at it. He just kept it pushing. But Cenat must have not been happy about this clip, because when the Streamer University in-person auditions were happening, which was mostly just scripted content for people that were going to show up anyway. Like most of the people that got quote unquote denied were allowed into Streamer University later. So for a Lacey, he would show up.
So let me ask you this question, Lacey. When I was gone, why didn't you defend me?
What?
Why you didn't defend me?
What?
Somebody was talking around you, but you didn't defend me.
What was that?
You want me to show you?
Let me see.
I'm gonna show you right now. Because as a home monitor,
let me see.
you have to be really, really good, gang.
You're right.
All right? You was right in front of him.
Megathon turn it into a subathon, and then the subathon is where you blow all the megathon money. Cenat's gonna steal that before you do it, so you better do it, bro. I'm serious. Better not let Kai do it, because once he does it, it's over.
Why you didn't defend me, bro?
That was a different me.
That was a new you now.
That was a different me. Listen, back then, non-confrontational. First time meeting, non-confrontational. Personally, didn't even remember that, so you just brought it up. But I'm a different person now. I'm different.
You know, you got a Segway. Got a uniform. Hall monitor, I don't know about that position, because we need people that's going to protect. So you got a red flag on your name. I'm gonna need to see better. Honestly, if you're gonna defend Streamer University's name, you gotta really defend it.
Dean Cenat defend.
If you didn't have this segue, you would have never got this. This is not like acceptance or decline.
Stay in touch.
Yeah. That doesn't mean you're accepted though, okay?
Okay.
Next time
Thank you, Dean Cenat.
next time when probably somebody talk to me.
Anybody says your name.
I wouldn't let it happen to you.
I appreciate that.
All right, get your segue in.
Oh my God! Stay in touch!
So he shows up and this gets played for him. Now this was scripted, but I'm guessing there was some sort of improv. And by scripted, I mean they told Lacey ahead of time, hey, show up, you're going to be allowed in, because there were thousands of people outside. Like for example, Soulja Boy, he was told he would not be allowed in anywhere in the building. But I do think that he was surprised when Kai Cenat brought this clip out, which was the same clip. And this was around the same time Kai Cenat was getting a lot of hate for the subathon. And this guy, TJR, he's really good at following trends. So he'll trend jack anything. And what was trending at the time was, begathon, subathon. And I think Kai Cenat was probably a little bit more sensitive at this time because he was putting in so much money, so much effort, so much time into creating the perfect event for people. And they just called it a begathon. Like, he's just begging for subs. And that's gotta take an emotional toll on somebody. So he felt away and he pulls that clip up. And I thought that this was just a joke when it happened, but it seemed to be serious because TJR is talking about it, Lacey is talking about it right now and saying, yeah, this caused me some problems. And TJR had a response to this when the initial clip would recirculate of the Streamer University.
You got Lacey denied from Streamer University? Lacey got himself denied from Streamer University. I didn't get him denied. He didn't defend Kai Cenat when I was pressing him out. And you know what? That was actually a test. I did that on purpose. I knew Kai Cenat was going to see that clip, and I knew that he was doing a second Streamer University, and I knew that Lacey would fold under the pressure. I knew it. But you know what was confusing to me? How did Kai just have that clip in his back pocket? You know what?
So this guy's playing the internet game, which is understandable, but sometimes you don't know you don't know if this person's serious or not. No, I don't think this guy was a plant for Kai Cenat to see who was being loyal, but I also don't think TJR cares about the politics of the streaming industry. He was getting into streaming for a little while, and then I think he realized, like, hey, my life is way better when I'm not doing this thing. So he quit it very quickly. But Lacey would have a reply from TJR on X after it happened with a lot of details. So TJR would say, this is my side of the story. 1, I did pay him $15K that he said I, quote, never did. This is the full story. Everyone in Vegas rinsed everything they brought to zero. So I decided to hit up my gambling deal sponsor, which I currently have a deal with, to give me a lifeline if I gave them a shout out on stream. They say yes, so I take the $15K they gave me and put it on black, and it hits. Granted, maybe the way I communicated the entire situation made Lacey feel like he was entitled to some of that money, but I was the one running communication, and I was the one that had the sponsor with them. Then after hitting, I end up running my bag up and Lacey leaves to his room because he had $0. My chat then starts spamming saying I scammed Lacey. Keep in mind, this is when Lacey turned 21, so they flew him out to Vegas with Togi, who's just known for gambling, and this guy. Because he said on stream that I kept a portion of the money that he, quote, should have kept. I found out about this because everyone is spamming me saying I'm a scammer, so I say F it and go up to Lacey's room that I paid for him and gave him $15K because I would rather give him that money than have him feel like I'm a trash person. He then proceeded to lose all that money the very next morning. Oh man, Vegas. There's actual proof of this too because I remember a clip circulating of Ronaldo watching our Vegas stream saying, watch, TJR is going to go into Lacey's room now that everyone is calling him a scammer to give him money and clear his name. Which, to be fair, is exactly what I was doing. Because I could give a F about $15K, and like I said before, I would rather just give him $15K than have him think I'm a bad person due to a miscommunication. Which is similar to a miscommunication that Lacey would have with Aiden Ross when they were doing the fat camp thing, and then they were going on and off about like $40K, and somebody owed the other person money, and they got into it about that. 2, it sucks that streaming is like this and so cliquey. I've been nothing but nice to Lacey and have helped him behind the scenes with stuff, and obviously helped him have an awesome segment of us going on a private jet and got him a penthouse in Vegas on my tab and got him streaming permission from the casino. So for him to say this about me just because Kai pressed him about a clip with us together is kind of lame, but I get it. That's just like what streaming is. And then Togi had also tweeted on that day, and keep in mind, this is like after Mafiathon. I don't feel like TJR scammed Lacey at all. He paid for a jet, looped me in to help them film a whole day in the casino, got them a penthouse to stay in, was an amazing character all day long for Lacey's stream, used his casino deal that is TJR's, not Lacey's, to get 20K, and won. Both of them are dope, and it sucks that Lacey lost, but TJR does not owe him money. This all sounds fair to me. Now, some people will say, man, he used Lacey to promote himself, and this and that. It's an exchange of value. And I do think that Lacey got a lot of value. Like, it's 21st birthday, they brought him out to Vegas, they gave him the royal treatment, he didn't have to pay for anything, he kept all of the money that he made from stream, it was a good experience, and then to talk about him like this, it's difficult. And funny enough, FaZe Banks responds, if the chat says the sky is red, the sky is red. Yeah, these guys are just victims to their chat. And then TJR would respond once again and say, in response to a fan that said, the Kai part is just streaming stuff. You can't really fault anyone. The other part was a miscommunication and acknowledged from both sides. Lacey says he still F's with you. This is another big misunderstanding. I can't lie. Well, the misunderstanding comes from people clipping this stuff up. And he has to protect himself because if TJR doesn't say anything, now everybody thinks that he's the worst guest that he ever had. And they're just going to assume the scamming thing because they forgot what happened because they weren't there for the actual stream. He says, I didn't post that tweet to make it sound bad about Lacey. I just wanted to clear the air about him saying I didn't give him money that he was owed because I did. The entire situation is stupid, as is the entire streaming industry and how it works. People just communicate via clips that are skewed by the people that aren't even involved, facts, and are trying to farm engagement to make money on CPM or make money on the rates for the clips. And this is exactly what broke apart Kai Cenat and Aiden Ross. It wasn't anyone that was well, I don't know about in contact, but it wasn't anything that they specifically said. It was how people took things out of context. And then Kai Cenat, in this case, is looking at the clip and then I guess not calling the person up. Now, the whole chicken Big Mac thing, that's a different story, but yeah. He says, I texted Lacey on the ones and said, I understood the entire situation and what he said on live. I'm now doing the exact same thing, just publicly. Obviously, people just effing take things to the extremes. This guy sounds the most mature out of everybody. And I think he's a very young dude. I think he's just as young as Lacey, but his brain isn't fried by having to deal with a chat constantly. So he's looking at it like, hey, look, he made whatever statement he said. He still messes with me, but I've got to say something because now this is public and I've got to protect my public image because this person's a brand himself. And it ends up being not much of a thing. However, this just goes to show that if you talk trash about, like we've seen Neon get blackballed by Kai Cenat. Now, Neon did say wild things about Kai Cenat and his family that it's understandable if he doesn't want to forgive him. That's on him. But TJR said some light jokes and Lacey was with him, and then that gets brought up and Lacey said, like, yo, it wasn't a joke, it actually caused him problems. And he reflecting on that. So Kai Cenat's running a tight ship over here. Not even a tight ship. He's influencing the entire streaming industry. And we haven't seen something like this since maybe 2018, 2019, when all those like Austin streaming people were blackballing people. At that time, if they all blackballed you, you were cooked. Because there was such small viewership that you couldn't carve out your own lane. You needed to share viewers back then. Because live streaming was a lot smaller. And I would say it was a lot more active, as in like community. And it wasn't just like a bunch of people following around clips and not actually watching the live streamers. So overall, I kind of respect how Kai Cenat is treating this. But I do think he's a little bit sensitive at times. You can be, especially if it's your event too. I understand that. Like if it's Streamer University, it's your event. You don't have to let somebody in there that wasn't defending your name, defending your honor, because you're putting a lot into them for Stream University as money as well. And with Lacey, I just think that a lot of these streamers, they just have this level of entitlement where it's like, oh, I have clout, so whatever you do for me, whatever you pay for me, whatever you handle, like there's not much of a gratitude. Same thing they had with FaZe. Like FaZe was paying for everything for them, taking care of everything, didn't ask for a dime. And when they said like, hey, we got to figure out the business, we can't keep burning money at this rate. They're like, oh man, you guys want money? What the hell? I thought we were just going to get everything for free just because. And that is the nature of dealing with young people with wild amount of clout. So I think TJR handled this well. I do think that I can't blame TJR for making the joke about Kai Cenat because Lacey wasn't in Kai Cenat's crew. Like if it was one of like you wouldn't consider Lacey like, oh, this is Kai Cenat's mans. If that was the case, then I'd more so be against what TJR was doing because like, yo, you're trying to create drama. You know that's his mans and you're trying to bring something up. I don't think that's in good character. So for lack of a better word. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.